Think of one of your earliest memories, a moment from when you were very young. You can see the scene, you can feel how it felt, and you're sure it happened. You could describe it in detail. Now here's the part that should unsettle you. There's a real chance that what you're remembering isn't that event at all, but a photograph you once saw, or a story you were told so many times that your brain quietly built a memory around it, and you would never be able to tell the two apart. Because a completely false memory feels, from the inside, exactly like a true one. There's no label, no watermark, no little signal in your head that flags this one really happened versus this one was built. The memory you treasure most, the one you'd point to as proof of your own life, part of it or all of it could be something your brain simply made up, and you would never know. Your memory is not a recording. In the next few minutes, I'll show you that memory is something your brain reconstructs, rebuilt from scratch every single time you recall it, and able to be rebuilt wrong, edited, or even planted whole. By the end, you'll see how a completely false memory, detailed, emotional, certain, can be put into someone's head, sometimes with nothing more than a confident voice and a question, and why your brain has no way to flag it as fake. Start by clearing up the core misunderstanding. You'd assume memory works like a video recording. You press play and you watch what happened. It doesn't. Every time you remember something, your brain rebuilds it from scattered fragments, filling the gaps with assumptions, expectations, and things you learned later. And here's the crucial part. Once it's rebuilt, your brain saves the new version back over the old one. So the memory you're holding of an event isn't the event, it's the last time you remembered it, with all the edits baked in, which leads somewhere strange. The memory you're most certain of, the one you've pulled out and replayed the most, is also the one that's been rebuilt and re-edited the most times. And if a memory is rebuilt every time, it can be edited while it's being rebuilt, even by someone else. In a set of classic experiments, researchers showed people footage of a car accident. Then they asked, how fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other? For another group, same question, one word changed: when they hit each other. That single word raised the speed people estimated. And a week later, the people who'd heard smashed were more likely to remember seeing broken glass at the scene. There was no broken glass. One word, arriving after the event was already over, quietly rewrote what they thought they'd seen with their own eyes. So your memory isn't sealed shut once the event ends. It stays open, editable by a question, a suggestion, someone else's version of the story. Now the unsettling leap. If a single word can add broken glass to a memory, can you plant an entire event that never happened? Researchers tried. In a famous study, they handed people short write-ups of childhood events taken from their own families, except one was completely invented: getting lost in a shopping mall as a kid. With a little gentle prompting and a trusted family member confirming that it had happened, a sizable fraction of people, around a quarter to a third in studies like this, came to remember it. And not vaguely. They added details no one had given them: what the place looked like, how frightened they were, the kind stranger who found them. They built a rich, emotional memory of something that never happened. How? Imagination plus repetition plus a confident, trusted source. When you picture an event vividly enough, or someone you trust insists it happened, your brain files it using the very same machinery it uses for real memories and loses track of where it came from. The tag that says, "This really happened," versus "I only imagined it or was told it," is itself fragile and reconstructed like everything else. And this isn't just a lab curiosity. It is why eyewitness testimony can be so dangerously unreliable. why leading questions in an interrogation are so risky, and why confident, certain memories have sent innocent people to prison. Now be fair, because this is the easiest part to get wrong. This does not mean your memory is worthless or that everything you remember is fake. For the everyday gist of your life, your memory is reasonably reliable. You are not walking around full of fabrications. And the fraction of people who form false memories swings a lot between studies, depending heavily on how hard they're pushed. The point isn't nothing you remember is real. The point is narrower and stranger. A false memory feels, from the inside, exactly like a true one. Confidence isn't proof. Vividness isn't proof. There is no internal signal that separates the two, which is exactly why a completely honest, completely certain person can still be completely wrong. So put it all together. You treat your memories as evidence, the record of what happened, the proof of who you are. But a memory is just a story your brain rebuilds each time you reach for it, edited by everything that came afterward and, under the right conditions, writable from the outside, without your permission and without your knowledge. And it will feel exactly as real as the truth. Which means you can never be fully certain that your most precious memory, the one you'd swear your life on, happened the way you remember it, or happened at all. And it's the same brain, the one that deletes time out of your vision and hides the cut, the one that listens to every conversation in the room and hands you only one, the one that catches its own mistake in a flash of déjà vu. It builds the world you see and the sounds you hear, and it builds your past too. You don't have a record of your life. You have a story your brain keeps rewriting and tells you is the truth. So the next time a memory surfaces, sharp, certain, emotional, the kind you'd never think to question, you don't have to distrust it. Just hold it a little more lightly. Because what you're holding isn't a recording of what happened, it's the latest draft. Your brain has been quietly editing it your whole life, and it will never, ever tell you which parts it changed. Do you have a memory you later found out was wrong? Something you were certain of that turned out differently or never happened at all? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Because next time, we're leaving memory and going back to your eyes, but in a way you won't believe. You can be staring directly at something, a person, an object, even a gorilla walking straight through the middle of everything, and not see it at all. And there's a famous experiment that proves you'll miss it. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next mystery.